Hello, Nate. It's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
Elisha, thank you so much for having me. I'm doing great today. I'm ready to go with you. Let's roll, baby.
Beautiful, my man, and thank you so very much for being here. You see, I truly appreciate it. And oftentimes, Nate, I love to thank my guests for two main things. And I do this so often, you know why? Because I feel like it is important. So, firstly, Nate, I want to say thank you for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you invested in yourself. And oftentimes, Nate, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. You see, some months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, Nate, there was this tall, unattractive mango tree. And I use the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves were all dry. So I just walked past it. But you see, Nate, just recently I was on that same road, and this time around, a lot's changed about the mango tree, you see. It caught my attention pretty good from a distance, and immediately I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did, and it wowed me. Because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches. It looks so beautiful. And I was smiling just like you are right now. And that was how I was smiling that day. And you see, it was a beautiful moment, I tell you. Here is my point. The fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing person that you are today, that alone has made it really impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you see you got the request from me to be on the show because I was attracted to the fruit of all that you're doing, your philosophies, your work, your insight, the impact it is having. It is amazing. And I've got to benefit this. I've got to benefit from this, I said to myself, not only me now, but even the audience. And yeah, here we are today with the great Nate on the show. So thank you so very much for investing in yourself. And secondly, Nate, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if you had said nope, there was nothing I could do about it. Thank you so very much, my man. I truly appreciate it.
No, this is awesome. Thank you. And I love that analogy of the mango tree. And
Yeah,
it is so true in our lives because we have to pour into ourselves day in, day
that's right.
out to be prepared to produce the fruit. And not just from a business perspective, but also from a religious perspective. You have to pour in and you have to make sure that you're working on your heart, working on yourself in every different way to be prepared to produce the kind of fruit that you're passionate about.
You're passionate about. That's so true, my man. That's so true. So let's get started. You see, Nate, I'm quite excited to have you on the show today for some reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one, Nate, I believe it takes the application of knowledge. And not just knowledge, but the application of it. And you see, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge, and darkness means ignorance. I've been so keen to knowledge seeking because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. The second reason why I'm excited to have the amazing Nate on the show is for the sake of the listeners. You see, Nate, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got lots of informations flying out there. So these folks trust me for quality, eye-opening, powerful, and very important information, of which I'm totally convinced that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So for that reason, Nate, my man, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or professional journey. We are just so curious right now. We want to know how Nate got here. Then afterwards, I've gotten some really beautiful questions for you. Okay, Nate, over to you.
Awesome. Yeah, so my journey has been one filled full of a lot of heartache, a lot of pain, a lot of difficulty, but then also a lot of grace, a lot of rebound, a lot of relentlessness, and a lot of drive to constantly improve. Like you're talking about the importance of chasing after knowledge and wisdom and then applying it every single day to move forward. And that has been a lot of my journey ever since when I was 18, 19, and when I was 18, I was at the police academy, hired at 19 as a cop. And then I went through and served as a police officer for 4 years. And then I had paralysis. And right on the backside of that, I had a form of heart failure where my brain and my heart didn't communicate together anymore. They had a major problem. And basically, every time I would cardio, my heart would stop or have massive issues. So going through that, the journey has to be beyond the difficulties, beyond the heartaches, beyond those moments of turmoil. And so you always have to keep on looking beyond. And so that's where in my life, I always focus on a greater future, a greater lighthouse than just small temporary goals, small, issues or items that you can succeed in within the next 2, 3, 4 years. I live with the deathbed mentality. What are those areas and aspects of my life that when I get to my deathbed, when I look back, what are the areas that I'm going to regret not progressing in, not growing in, not learning in, not taking action in? And that's been a part of my drive throughout the years. And that's really what built me as kind of this relentless tank that can face almost anything in life that comes. And God can use it to build me up to become better and better as we continue to move. And it's been incredible. And that relentlessness, that spirit that God has given me has been able to bring me through building businesses, scaling businesses. I've been on the Inc. 5000 for the last 4 years in a row. And then I sold that business last year for an 8-figure exit. That's just an amazing gift to be able to now have freedom on the financial side. But, one thing I'll tell you, Elisha, is that God has given me an even deeper burden for progress, an even deeper burden for using that freedom to have an impact. Some people would like to sit on the beach, smoke cigars, and that would be their life, just vacation all the time. But for me, I will tell you that I'm working just as hard as I ever have, because now my goal, the only goal, is to have an impact, to help people break free from their holdbacks and to chase after a better future. And that's what it's about. And that's where the passion, the purpose, that connection, it goes beyond my day. It goes beyond my feelings. It goes to the deepest place of fuel in my heart.
Man, that's a beautiful one. Now I understand why you're so good at what you do. You see, Nate, when I discovered that I was meant not to live just to survive, feed my family and that's all. When I discovered that my true essence of living is to make an impact, you see, a whole lot of things changed for me. And I love the fact that you you've got this beautiful and loving heart for God. You see, I saw while you were talking where you mentioned that the gift the Spirit of God gave you, not you giving all the glory to God. Oh boy, that's a beautiful one. And I told someone, I said, you see, anyone who says he's an expert in this, expert in that, and is a professional in this, and he doesn't mention God or accredit all of these things to God, I feel like they aren't who they say they are, truthfully speaking. Folks who are powerful are those ones who gives glory to God, and they do things out of God's instruction and influence. And you talk about Relentless and the Relentless tank. That's amazing. And the death bed. Is that right?
The what?
The death bed. I don't know if I heard
Oh,
it
the
correctly.
deathbed mentality. Yes.
Yeah, the
Yes, the
deathbed
deathbed
mentality.
mentality.
That's a very powerful reminder, I tell you. And it's awesome. So I love that. So let's pick the first question from talking about one of your saying. Why do you say comfort zones are the enemy of success? Okay, can you hear me? Should I repeat it?
Yeah, go ahead and repeat that real quick.
Okay. So I said, why do you say comfort zones are the enemy of success?
Ooh, comfort zones are those areas in our lives that don't require growth. They don't require adaptation. They don't require new knowledge, new wisdom. They don't require us to become any more great than we were yesterday. Those comfort zones are those areas that you can fall back into. They don't require any future charge, no aggressive momentum. It just requires you to stay the same and live in the comfort. You can never do that. You always have to be getting better every single day.
I got that. And a lot of people are stuck in there. You see, a lot of people. They don't want to step out. They just want to stay in there because it is comfortable in there. Okay, so let us talk about how can someone build a legacy of impact like we were talking about just before now, how can one build a legacy of impact, but and not just profit, but of impact? Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, so you first have to figure out what is driving you. Like, what is that fuel inside of you that keeps you motivated? Because we all have different driving forces. Your driving force might be different than my driving force. Some people might not connect with us about our relationship with God. They might have a different driving force. Sometimes they might not be able to see past, their children. They might not be able to see past their family. But when you look at that and you really look at your true driving force, I use a tool that I call your inner 2-year-old. What does a 2-year-old ask over and over again? Why? 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 And so you have to pull out your inner 2-year-old to say, okay, why do I want this? Or what is motivating me and why is it there? When somebody's like, oh, Nate, you don't understand. I just need to go after and make $1 million. Why? Well, I have this situation with my family. Okay, why? Okay, well, I have a heart for my family. Okay, why? And you keep on going down. It's because when I was young, my family didn't have. And you keep on working down. And then you get down to the deepest rooted aspect of why somebody is driven. And next thing you know, when you tap down here, then you can be able to pull out that true driving force. And what happens is normally when you get down here to the deepest driving force, then what's going to happen is people are going to want to do it for more than just them. And so then it goes, instead of it just being I want of something for me, it's a they need for them. And so when you get all the way down there, and sometimes that is down in what I call your basement, the place that you don't want to go, the place where you've buried some of your hurt, you've buried some of your past, maybe you buried some of your childhood, maybe you buried different aspects down here in this basement. But in order for you to find that driving force and to really figure out who you are and what you're really built to go after, you got to go to the basement. You got to figure out what's there holding you back, what's there you can use as fuel, and what is there that could be a part of your catalyst to this next point in your life.
Amazing. That's a beautiful explanation. And you made it quite easy to understand, and it was very easy also to apply. I got that. So let us talk about this statement, suck less and do better. What does that mean, and how did you come up with that title?
So yes, that is the title of the book. And so that's where you get a little bit of an insight into my personality. I'm a little sarcastic by nature. Even though I'm very passionate, driven, I love people, but I'm also very sarcastic. And so that saying, suck less, do better, is actually a saying I've been telling myself for about the last 12 years. And so the meaning behind it really comes down to don't worry about everybody else. Don't worry about Elisha. He is going to be the best Elisha that ever lives. Don't worry about John over here. Don't worry about everybody else. You worry about Nate. And so every single day when you show up, you need to show up better than you were the day before. You need to show up more relentless than the day before, more hungry than the day before, more driven than the day before, more knowledge, more growth, more development than the day before. Every single day, suck less, do better. And that was a slogan I told myself over and over again, suck less, do better. Today, you got to suck less, do better. And then when my publisher asked me to put a name behind my book, and to finish writing all the details, I said, it's got to be suck less, do better.
Amazing, I got that. Okay, so what are the biggest roadblocks people face on their path to success? This is also very important.
Man, the roadblocks. And this is where actually, I'm preparing for this keynote for this Friday. And man, there's so much passion I have about breaking free. And so the holdbacks that we all have are those individuals, including myself, that have these things that we have not broken free from. And so in my book, I talk about cracked lenses. Cracked lenses, which are cognitive biases. This is like the way we see ourselves. So what in our past has changed the way that we see ourselves, seeing the opportunities that we have, seeing the experiences that we have, seeing our skill sets, our capabilities, see opportunities. How many things change the course of how we view ourselves or view our opportunities in front of us? And in there, it goes from childhood, it goes from past relationships, experiences. If you're bullied, even some of these things could even come from positive things. My parents are incredible. And even though my parents are incredible, there's still some cracked lenses that they brought into our family from their childhood. And I've told people, like, my parents were incredible, but they did a great job teaching me how to be poor. They didn't teach me how to go out and find success. And when you do find wealth, how to manage wealth. And so that's only because that's how they were raised. And so if you don't identify these different holdbacks in your life, how can you really chase after your greatness? How can you really become the greatest version of you unless you start identifying what are the things in your own eyes, the way you see yourself, the way you perceive experiences, opportunities, and every single aspect of your life? What are your limiters? And that's really what I get so excited about, figuring out how to help people break free from this past that they have so they can really chase after the greatest future that they could ever imagine.
Amazing. And I tell you, it is very, very obvious that you're passionate about what you're doing. And you've got this incredible insight. I tell you, I would have to listen to our conversation over and over again because I love to learn. And so when I come across folks who's got something here, oh boy, I find them very, very interesting. So you've blessed my day, Ned. We have just one more question to go. All right, so let us talk about your mastermind. Okay, so how do you help
Mm.
people in your mastermind? Tell us.
So the mastermind is one of my favorite projects that we work on. And we take people through a 12-week, highly intensive experience. And the reason why I say it's an experience is it goes beyond just a course. It goes beyond just group meetings. It goes beyond just connecting with people. We walk them through an experience that brings all of that together. And we help them really identify at the beginning half of the program. They really work to uncover the depth of who they are, their skill sets, their capabilities. Then we work through to identify that heart fuel, that deep rooted drive inside of them that's really going to be used as their fuel system for the rest of their lives. And then we help them set what's called their lighthouse, that goal. What are you chasing after all the way to your deathbed? And through that initial process, we help them really break free from some of these misbeliefs that they have. And in the second part of the mastermind, we dive hard into all their holdbacks. For the next 3 weeks, we dive hard into their cracked lenses, their cognitive biases. We start eliminating the noise, these things that are in their heads from their past, the comparisons, the competitions. And then we set them on a trajectory of focused action, get them to have a right plan put in place to go after this next leg of their journey, all the way through to chase after that lighthouse that they set early on in the program. And so in 12 weeks, we literally create this intensive process that helps people uncover this, break free, and go after their future and know with confidence where they're heading. And that's what I found is the most important thing, is to have confidence in the direction that you're chasing and make sure that you're eliminating all these holdbacks so you can be broken free and chase after with some incredible relentless.
Amazing. That sounds very powerful. I tell you, you're putting so much effort into that. That's a beautiful one. So to bring this to an end, Nate, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those folks who would like to join the mastermind, ask questions, or want to make a purchase of your book, how can that be possible?
So the one thing that I will tell you that so many people struggle with is that limiting belief, that expectation of a life that is not to the extent in which they could reach. And if I'd believed all these limiting beliefs in my life, my success that I hit by the time I was 30 would have been the end of it. But then I had to keep on pushing and pushing. And if I really let my limiting beliefs take over, I would have never started my first business. And my entire life would have been changed. And so you think about that, you have to really work through what is it in your life that you need to break free from. And only then can you really chase after that future that you're really striving for and really find the results that you could not even imagine right now. And with connecting with me, we have a website. It's successwithnategreen.com. And inside there, you can see there's a link to the book. There's links for the mastermind. We also have a free course that you can jump into on our website. Once again, it's successwithnategreen.com.
Amazing. So that's going to be the end of the show, Nate. Thank you for coming. and thank you for sharing this incredible stuff with us. It means a whole lot, man. Thank you. Okay, can you hear me, Nate? Hello, Nate. Can you hear me? Here we go. So sorry about that. The network went off. So that's gonna be the end of the show, my man. Thank you so very much for coming. Thank you for sharing this beautiful stuff with us. It means a whole lot. Thank you.
No, thank you. I appreciate you having me.